In this video, we're going to dig into the equal constraint in Autodesk Inventor sketches. It's right up here in the bottom right corner of your constraints. Let's look at what it says about itself. It constrains selected circles and arcs to the same radius and selected lines to the same length. And then it says in the second little note there, you can constrain several objects to all match each other. And we'll look at how to do that a couple of different ways as we go through this. But let's look at what it says it can do. Now, if I have a line and another line, obviously two different lengths, I make them equal. And now they are the same length. If I add a dimension to one, we got zoomed out there, but adding a dimension to one changes the other as well. Let's do a couple of circles. Obviously different sizes, make them equal. Now they match. It applies to arcs as well. Larger arc, smaller arc, equal. Notice one arc makes much more of a circle than the other one, has a larger sweep than the other, but the radius of each one, let's give that a dimension there. And that means that one gives us a driven dimension. They have the same radius. One more thing that we can take note of is that between an arc and a circle, we can apply the equal constraint to them as well. Now all four of these are equal. Should be obvious, but just so we know, we can apply it to arcs, we can apply it to lines, but we can't cross over between the two. There's nothing between this line or these arcs or circles that we can constrain with the equal constraint. But let's get rid of that sketch. Let's start a fresh one, and we'll start drawing and see some practical ways that we can actually use this. I'm going to start by drawing a 2-point center rectangle on the origin. Come out here and just leave it unconstrained and undimensioned at this point. I can now take the equal constraint and make the top equal to the side. So now that means I have a square. And if I put a dimension on one side, since it is a square, since I have, let me show my constraints, I have that equal constraint pair right there at the top to the side. This will remain a square. Let's hide those constraints, finish this sketch, and let's extrude so we have now a solid to work on. Let's create a new sketch on here. And this time we're going to draw some circles. Let's draw 4 circles up here. We're going to put 4 little holes or 4 pockets in this thing. Let's not go all the way through with them. What I can do quickly is apply a horizontal constraint to these two. That was in a previous video. Apply a vertical constraint to these two. But now I see they can all move together. We'll work on the positioning more in just a second. But I want all 4 of them to be the same size. Now I can come up here, click on the equal constraint and just start clicking pairs of them till I get them all constrained. But a quicker way to do it is to click the first one, and then in Windows you hold down Control and you click the other one and the other one and the other one. And when you have all 4 selected, then you come up here and click on equal. As I show these constraints again, take note of what happens. The first one that I selected, it gets all of the constraints. It is constrained to, there is the one on the top right, there's the one on the bottom right, and there is the one on the bottom left. It does not create one big collective equal constraint for all of them. It constrains all of them back to the first one that you created. And I hide those constraints, but remember that this is the one that everything referenced back to, so this is the best one to put a dimension on, so that this is the reference for all of the rest of them. And granted, it would work if I put it on any of the others, but the risk that we have is if this circle gets deleted, now all the rest of them lose their constraints. If I know that this is the original, then this has the dimension on it. If I needed to delete this one, all of the rest of them keep that relationship back to the original. Now I can come in here Let's undo and get that last circle back up there. Let me speed up while I apply some more dimensions to all of these. And then I can use those 4 circles that I created. Let's make some shallow pockets in this block. Oh, missed one of the profiles. There we go. There we go. Now I got it right. Sometimes you just have to slow down and pay attention to what you're doing. So there is creating 4 circles equal to each other, selecting all of them all at once, keeping in mind which one is the base and the reference for all of it. Let's finish this sketch. Let's make another new part real quick. I'm going to make this one a simple cylinder. And I'm going to start a sketch now on the end of the cylinder. Sometimes we need wrench flats on something like this, and we can project geometry, get that outer circle, draw a line here for one side of our wrench flats, draw the other line there. I want to make sure that they are both vertical. And then if I simply set them equal to each other, this ends up a lot like a symmetric constraint. But if they are touching that circle and those lines are equal to each other, that will ensure that they are matched around that origin. Now I can come up here, let's say put an 1.5" dimension on that, finish that sketch. Then I can extrude those 2 outer portions, maybe put some wrench flats on that shaft. Let's do one more demo right here. I've got a fresh block prepped. Let's create a sketch on the front of it. And this time I'm going to draw some slots on here. Let's just put 3 of them up here. And what I want to do with these 3 slots is make sure that they are all the same size. So I can use, say, the center line of each arc. Control click and select all of those to say equal. And then hit escape. I want to start over. I don't want to be still in that equal command, but I can pick an arc on one end of each slot, say those are equal as well. And then as I apply more constraints to this, okay, let me pause right here. I'm going to show all of my constraints again. It's getting a little bit crowded. I do have the scale turned up on my annotations on these little constraint glyphs. But we want to be sure, as we mentioned a while ago, that we go back to the original if at all possible. And I can see on this arc right here, let me zoom in a little, that this arc is the one that was constrained to the other 2. And this line is the one that was constrained to the other 2. So as I create dimensions, it is probably best if I apply my dimensions to those original sketch entities that each of those constraints refers back to. Finish that sketch and create my extrusions. So just look for places where you need geometry in different parts of a sketch to be equal to each other. Let's suppose, let me back up and draw that one a little neater. Suppose we have these 2 things going on, and I want this notch to be equal to this notch, even though they're in different locations. I can use equal here to here, and then here to here, so that as I apply dimensions to these things, the other side adapts with it automatically. And I don't need quite so many dimensions in my sketch. We'll leave it right there for now with the equal constraint. I appreciate you watching. If this was useful to you, I'd love to get a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you need a link back to the full constraint playlist, here is that link. And when you are ready for it, the link will be there to the last constraint that we need to cover and that is the fix constraint, one that we skipped earlier, and coming back around to it. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.